Hi, and welcome back to my series on how to thread the Elna Lock Pro 5 DC serger. There's a couple tools that I like to use that make threading more easy. I like to use needle threaders and tweezers. And if you watched the first video, we talked all about the different plates and feet that come with the serger, as well as cutting widths and pressure of the pressure foot. We're going to be doing the 4-thread overlock today. And for that, we have plate A in and presser foot A, and we also have our twin needle in. That's the only stitch that you use the twin needle for. And first, we'll talk about the different loopers that the machine has. The Elna Lock Pro 5 DC has 3 different loopers. It has the upper looper, which you can see right here, that moves up and down. It has this lower looper that you can see goes back and forth. And then right here is your chain stitch looper. So for the 4-thread overlock stitch, we'll just be threading the upper looper and the lower looper. Inside the front cover is a color-coded threading chart for both the 4-thread overlock and the 5-thread safety stitch. So following the proper threading order, we're going to start with the upper looper, which is your 3rd cone of thread, and you make sure you put it into the guide on the thread tree and that your guide is all the way up, and we're going to bring it down and put it under the yellow thread guide, following this groove in your machine. And then you're going to want to guide the thread behind this metal piece, in front of this one, and around underneath the tension disc. From here, you're going to bring your thread up, back around this metal piece and under this yellow guide hook. And from there, you're just going to follow the yellow thread guides all the way up to threading the hole in your upper looper. So I'll do that right now. And normally I can thread the upper looper hole without my needle threader and grab it with tweezers from the other side, but so I don't struggle with it for the video, I'm going to use my needle threader here too. Right through the hole. And then just let the thread go off to the right there. Next, we thread the lower looper. So again, bring it up through your thread pull, and this time you're under the green thread guide here and down the groove in your machine. And here you have one metal piece to guide the thread behind, and then you're going to go around the tension disc. After coming around the tension disc, we'll loop the thread behind this metal piece, and then we'll follow the green thread guides to here. I'll do that. From here, we want to pull this lever back, and then we'll guide the thread behind this hook under the upper looper thread to thread the lower looper, and then we'll guide the thread back in between the 2 loopers and under this upper looper thread. So under the thread, and then back between the 2 and under the upper looper thread there. And very important, we need to make sure that we push the lever back before we try to sew. Now it's time for the needles. We start with the right needle, which is the 2nd cone, and it goes through the red thread guide. Make sure it's flossed into your tension discs under this metal piece, goes through here behind the right thread guide and this right thread guide down to the eye of the needle. And I like to thread with my tensions on 0 and my presser foot up, so I don't have to worry about making sure it gets into the tension disc. If it wasn't on 0, you can push this lever and it'll open up your tension disc for you, but I like to do it on 0. So through there, through the right thread guides, down to the eye of the needle, and using a needle threader, I'm going to thread the eye. Now for your left needle thread, again, under the blue thread guide, through your tension disc, under this metal piece, it goes through the same area here as your right needle. Then you're going to follow the left thread guides down to the eye of the needle. Sometimes I get the thread caught around the presser foot, so you want to make sure nothing's caught. And then I will take the 2 needle threads and put them underneath the presser foot. And we'll double check we have the right cutting width. We have it at 5.7 and the 9.0 millimeter for plate A. We have our lever pushed back. Everything looks threaded correctly. It's time for a test sew. So I'm going to turn my machine on. Okay. And the manual recommends starting with material underneath the presser foot. It's especially important if you're doing the chain stitch, which we're not doing in this video. We'll do that in the next video. But I do like to start all of mine with fabric underneath the presser foot. So I put my fabric underneath and make sure all my threads are straight. Hold them out to the left. Make sure the foot is down. I'll turn the first couple by hand. And then, almost forgot, important not to forget is to set your tensions. And I find that the recommended tensions are usually pretty good and definitely a good starting place. So we're doing the stretch knit 4-thread overlock, and it recommends your left needle at 4, right needle at 3, and your loopers at 2. So we'll see how this does. So you can see we got a nice 4th thread overlock stitch, nice and stretchy. We're using a bright purple thread, but we don't see it on the inside. So that sewed really well. Your 3-thread overlock is going to be the same, except you're going to have a single needle here instead of your double needle, and you'll be threading just the right guide. So this instructional video is good for both the 4-thread and the 3-thread. In the next video, we will be threading the chain stitch looper and your chain stitch needle. So I hope you'll join us for that. If you enjoyed this video, if it was helpful, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.